The men's 100-meter dash at the Kip Keino Classic in Nairobi, Kenya is officially over. And I'll be real with you, about a week ago, I didn't even know this was a meet I'd want to pay attention to. But that was before Bayanda Walaza goes out in a race in Croatia. Remember, he is a junior athlete who put down 9.94 seconds into a slight minus headwind. When I was watching that race, and he runs away from that field by more than 0.2 of a second, I decided that anytime he touches the track, I was going to pay attention from now going forward. So he shows up in Kenya, and when he does, Ferdinand Omanyala, of course, was going to be there. And whether you like it or not, these are the facts. Ferdinand Omanyala has gone as fast as 9.77 seconds. And he's run 9.7 more than once, but he always does it in Kenya, like specifically running on Kenyan soil. So people expected the Kip Keino Classic to be fast. But those two men weren't the only ones on the starting line. There was somebody else. Lachlan Kennedy, who represents Australia. And I'll be honest, I'll get to him in a moment, because there's a reason. Lachlan Kennedy, when he first burst onto the scene, I didn't even know how to say his name right. I mean, now I know there's Lachlan or Lockie Kennedy, but hey, he's in the field. And he's most well known for what he's done in a 60-meter dash, specifically outdoors, at least until he got to World Indoors this year. But that was then, and this is now. So when the gun goes off, at first, they called everybody back, because some version of a, faulty start or what have you, occurred, and it looked like Bayanda Walaza was going to run away from the field on that first start, or at least, the one that got called back. So I was like, okay, let's see how this race actually plays out. But they call everybody back, they give a green card to the field, and when they reset and the gun goes off again, the race starts to take form, where my eyes were on Walaza and Omanyala. I'm being 100% real, that's what I'm looking at. But then Lachlan Kennedy starts to pull away. And he doesn't just start to pull away, he holds them off to the line. And when he gets there, Walaza is in second, and Omanyala is actually now in third. And then the clock hits the boards. It says 9.98 seconds, which is a new personal best for Lachlan Kennedy. But you also gotta understand, at first they tried to tell us on the win gauge that it was a negative 1.7. Nobody actually believed that, because if he's going to run a PR with a negative 1.7, I mean, come on, man, let's be honest. They eventually adjusted it, and if you look at the official results, I believe it says negative 0.7, not negative 1.7, but still, Lachlan Kennedy is the victor, and that was not supposed to happen. So let's talk about it, because this race, again, when we think about Continental Tour Gold and the professional circuit, I mean, most people kind of file these races as, high quality tune-ups as we look forward to the World Championships. And the three men who I just mentioned all are in very unique places when it comes to focusing on the Worlds. In the case of Ferdinand Omanyala, as far as I understand it, nobody's stopping him from making the Kenyan national team. He's going to be there at the Worlds. The issue for Ferdinand Omanyala, really, and there's a rhetoric around him, again, the comment section, you can let me know, where you stand on this. But the general rhetoric, that he's run fast in races that nobody really paid attention to. When it came to the Worlds, Grant, don't get me wrong, he's made World Championship finals. I know it happened at least once, but he's never gotten a medal when he was there. So people tend to doubt whether, Omanyala is going to be, on the top line when it's all done. But when you look at the leaderboards heading into a championship, generally speaking, he had a time on the boards that is very competitive with the best men in the field. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, and if you really want to know what's going on with the fastest athletes in the world, then you are in the right place. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. Walaza, on the other hand, he's ahead of schedule, because until that 994, people really doubted whether Bayanda Walaza was legit. I'm not saying everybody, probably not the South African community, but the world athletic community, collectively, people didn't really know what to expect. He had won World Juniors. He had beat Gout. People really downplayed it and said, "Oh, he's older than Gout is." And then Gout went off and did the 200 meters that went 19.9 and the windy 19.8 and like all of that happened. So where did that put Walaza? Well, he's a pro now, whether you like it or not. For those in the comments, let's announce it. He is a pro. He's running representing Puma, and he's out there in professional races. I mean, whatever that actually means, Continental Tour Gold. And this is now not the first time we've seen him. And he's going out there with those fields, competing well, and either winning or being right up there with the top line. But that brings us to Lachlan Kennedy. Is Lachlan Kennedy someone who belongs on that top line? Let's have the real conversation. Because when I consider what Lachlan Kennedy has done up until now, we say he burst onto the scene this year in 2025, but I mean, even that is kind of controversial as far as like how you understand it. Because he was there at the games in Paris for 2024. He was running on a relay as far as I understand it. And nobody really paid attention. This year he goes outdoors, but runs a 60-meter dash, and Australia has a slightly different calendar about how they, do their nationals and so on. But Lachie Kennedy has been on one. Because he puts down the 6'4", outdoors in a 60. That evolved into him going to the World Indoor Championships, validating that even though with outdoors, he's still fast. And he comes away with a medal. He gets a silver medal indoors in the 60. I mean, hey, put it on the shelf. It's a world level medal. But then he gets outdoors. And for a man who really hasn't been that competitive outdoors, specifically in the 200-meter dash, I mean, the 100 still to some degree, 200 definitely not. When Gout runs his first professional race, and by that I mean like representing Adidas, because that was the Gout show. I was watching that Continental Tour Gold. It was the Gout show. They didn't even introduce the race like, hey, we're going to have the men's 200-meter dash to cap off the meet. It was Gout runs to 200. That is how they promoted it when I actually watched it live. And then Gout doesn't win. It's Lachie Kennedy who is the victor, and he ran a new PR when he was on that race. 20.2 if I remember correctly. Fast forward, he went to some Diamond League races and he wasn't necessarily in the front. But if you look at the results, I mean, say what you want. Christian Coleman may not have been running at his best, but there was a time when they ran dead up. Like they ran almost exactly the same time. Down to the thousands, that's what separated. And I think, Christian Coleman barely got him. It was like 10.18. I mean, it was a slower, quote unquote, slower race, but fundamentally speaking, he was right there with a guy who has shown us over the last few years he can make world championship finals, and of course has become a world champion. And then you're watching this race where I wasn't paying attention to Lachie Kennedy. Again, I'm being real. Like I saw him in the race, and I knew that he would be decent. I just expected them to pull away from him, especially from 60 to 100. But they didn't. He got ahead, and he held them off. And that is important, because Lachie Kennedy is already qualified for Australia. Like, it's already happened. He's going to be at the Worlds. All these races he's running, again, in the grand scheme of what pro track and field is, since the Worlds is what people put attention on, and the pro circuit is something else, and I guess Continental Tour Gold is some version of a pro circuit, these races are tune-ups on the way to get there. But Lachie Kennedy is going to be there. I fully expect him to be in the semifinals. I'm not saying that he's a favorite to make the final or to win. What I am saying is if you were paying attention in 2024, and you saw the men who showed up in the semifinals and how fast they actually went, you're going to have to beat him, because he ain't finna just mess up for you. You're going to have to beat him if you want to keep him out that final. We've seen that now consistently, that Australia, in the sprints, whatever you thought about them and where they are now is not exactly the same, because Gout is not the only man who runs representing Australia. Lachie Kennedy also represents that nation, and he's doing it pretty well as far as I can tell. He may not have been who I expected to win this race. Maybe somebody else did, I'm sure they did, but it wasn't me. But now that he did get this victory, in a 100-meter dash, Continental Tour Gold, Diamond League, or whatever, I'm not going to doubt him again, because I've had enough of it, getting it wrong, looking at Lachie Kennedy. He is apparently legit. I'm not saying he's a favorite, but he is now a contender, and the rest of the world is going to have to deal with it, whether or not you're Bayanda Walaza, who is a sprinting phenom, or Ferdinand Omanyala, one of the fastest men we've seen this side of Usain Bolt, even if he doesn't have the medals to go along with it. because Lachlan Kennedy certainly wants to walk away from this year with his own medals, and for all I know, he just might be able to pull it off. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your Fast is a Lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop, or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.